Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to the Grounded Masculine podcast with me, your host, Finn McKenna Fox. So, it has been a while since I have been on the podcast, and that's one of the reasons what I want to speak into today. Because for guys who've been following along, for anyone who's been listening for the last couple of years, you'll have known that we've been on a massive journey as a family where back in a year and a half ago, we moved from Australia, went back to Ireland, to our hometown in Ireland, and we spent 18 months back in Ireland. And in that time, we welcomed in our fourth child to our family, our little son, Coo Tiernan. And we spent the 18 months in Ireland. And back 6 months ago, pretty much to the day, actually, that's random. 6 months ago to the day, we actually came back to Australia, came back down to Denmark to where we were originally. So, as you can imagine, moving a family of five to Australia or to Ireland and then a family of six back to Australia, it takes its toll on you. There's a lot to handle, there's a lot to carry. There was a lot of different things that were going on for us. So, as you can imagine, begs to differ is like there's certain things I had to let go of, and the podcast was one of them. And that's one of the big topics that I want to speak into today because with all of the work that I've been doing on myself over the last decade or so, it's the last 2 years have taught me the most. And it wasn't something new that it taught me. It was actually the embodiment of all that I had been learning over the last decade. So allow that one to sink in for yourself. Like the biggest lesson that I've learned over the last 2 years of all of these transitions, all of this change, all of the hardship and the struggles that we went through over this time, it wasn't new things that I done or that I figured out or that I understood that helped me get through it. It was actually the embodiment, the actually taking action on all of the things that I already knew. Because it's one of the things so often we get caught up in always seeking outside of ourselves, always looking for something different, always looking for something new. Whereas the truth of the matter is, a lot of the stuff is already within you. It's just a matter of actually showing up and doing it. And that's one of the things that I cannot teach enough, I cannot speak into enough, I cannot support the guys that I work with enough is actually fucking do the work, actually take steps on doing the simple things really well, rather than chasing these big breakthroughs, rather than chasing this next best thing that you're looking for. Because again, in today's world, we are bombarded with information. We were bombarded with so many different things around us through podcasts, through ebooks, through actual books, through social media, through YouTube, through all of these different things. We know so much of this information around us, but why is so many of us still struggling? Why are you still stuck on the same things that you may have been stuck with for years? Even though you've been learning about them and reading about them and trying to do stuff, but actually not seeing any difference come into play. And I bet you, if you're honest with yourself, a lot of that comes back to is like you're not actually taking action where it is important to take action. Because let's be honest, that's the hard thing to do. Taking action on the things that we know that we need to change, we need to do. It's one of the reasons why my tagline is nothing changes until you change. Nothing is going to change around you until you actually change what it is you're doing, how it is that you're showing up. It's one of the things that you would have heard me say over and over again on here is what got you to where you are right now in your life is not going to get you to where you want to be. Allow that one to sink in. What got you to where you are right now in your life, the behaviors, the actions, the relationships, the stories that you're telling yourself, all of them things got you to where you are right now in your life. And if you want something different, if you want to create some change, you have to change the behaviors, you have to change your actions, you have to change the stories that you're telling yourself because that's what's going to bring in something new. And when that brings in something new for yourself, guess what? You're going to go a new direction. You're going to start calling in the different things that you've been seeking for. So, there's a lot of different topics, a lot of different things that I want to speak into on this podcast over the next little while because, again, as I said, I've been through a big fucking journey. I've learned a lot. I've been having some massive wins with clients with the changes that they've been actually embodying within themselves as well over the last 6 to 12 months. Um, but what I want to speak into today is the number one thing that has helped me massively over this last 2 years is knowing and understanding what my capacity is. This might be something that you have been hearing a little bit more people speaking into, but what does that mean? What does the capacity mean? So for me, it's like knowing how much you can hold with what's going on in the season of life that you're in. So how much can you hold? How much are the things that you can do and do well while also looking after the family, supporting your partner, supporting yourself, getting the things right in work. All are different areas. Excuse me, I'm just coming over a bit of a flu, so I'm a little bit sinusy today. So again, when we looked at that, the capacity that you have is how many things can you do? How many things can you hold without crumbling, without breaking yourself, without falling back into your old shitty coping mechanisms? So I've spoken about this when I was in Ireland on one of the podcasts a little bit, but I knew very early on, going back to Ireland, that it was going to be an interesting time for us. I knew with how my wife was feeling as soon as she got back, being pregnant, as well as the stuff that was going on for herself and the healing that she knew that was going to be coming up over the next while we were in Ireland. I knew it was going to be a lot. And then on top of that, a couple of the girls were struggling with school, with friendships, with just being away from their home. So I knew straight away that my family were going to need me more than they've ever needed me. So that was where again, doing this work has been so fucking important for me to help me manage this time because I knew I was going to be a really fucking big stressful shit show over time. So early on, whenever we got back to Ireland, I needed to look at myself in the mirror. And this is one of the things that's really hard. This is one of the things that I encourage you to do is like look at what are your patterns that play out for you when shit hits the fan. When you are hit with stress, when there's a sickness in the family, when you're having big arguments with your missus, when work deadlines are just ramping up, and whatever that might be for you, is like whenever you are forced into a really stressful situation, what are your go-to patterns to help you through that? So allow yourself to sit with that, allow yourself to ask that question, journal on that question, because it is fucking big. So for me, I looked at that and my default is that people pleaser. So as soon as all of this other stuff is going on, as soon as I see the people closest to me suffering, I would have always dropped everything to look after them, to be the savior for them, to be the support for them, to make sure that they were okay. And I was really fucking good at doing that until I wasn't. So I would disregard the things that I need for me to be able to make sure that everyone else around me was safe, everyone else was comfortable, everyone else was okay. And for any of the people pleasers listening, you can probably relate to this, where you're doing everything for everybody else, but nothing for yourself. And if you know that pattern, if you've lived that pattern before yourself, like you know that lasts for a while until it doesn't, until you hit that breaking point, until you just run out because you were just going on empty. And then when that happens, you're no good to anybody. And then the cycle repeats itself. You drop down, everyone else is dropping down because they were relying on you to hold them. And then that's when the guilt kicks in. That's when all of the other stuff kicks in. And then you have to try to come back from that. So I knew that that was my pattern. That's pattern that's played out my whole life. So that's when I needed to look at it. Is like instead of allowing that to happen, what are the things that I can do to support myself differently? So what are my needs that is going to help me navigate these stressful times rather than reverting back to that old pattern of people pleasing, rather than reverting to that old pattern of avoiding the things that I need to make sure everyone else around me is okay. Because like, at the end of the day, I done all of that because as a people pleaser, that was where I got the validation. That's where I felt love. That's where I felt acceptance because they were my core wounds growing up. It was like I didn't feel love. I didn't feel acceptance the way I wanted to. So then if I put myself aside to do what other people wanted of me and expected of me, then that is where I got that feedback from. So I know now in my relationships in my family and all of that, it's all fucking bullshit now, but I'm still playing out in that old pattern. So this is where I needed to actually really dig deep and do this work on myself. So I knew I stop exercising, I start letting my diet go, my sleep drops. I start dropping the self-care. Alcohol might increase. These coping mechanisms will all come in. Whereas like I avoid all of the things that help me feel good about myself and do the things that's going to help me move forward and look after myself with that. So that's instead of allowing them patterns to play, and that's where I needed to double down on that. And again, if you've been following my journey, that was where I trained every day for 465 days when we were in Ireland. Like at the minute, I'm on again day 100 and I don't have lost track of it because I haven't been bothered counting it. But last time I counted, it was about 120 days. So it says about 130, 40 days now where I've moved my body every single day because I know for me, that is one of the things that brings me back into my body and out of my head. The other things is journaling my thoughts morning and night, doing breathing exercises, breath work, meditation, whatever that looks like for you, whatever that looks like for me is different on different days. The other things is removing the crutches, the late night scrolling, the staying up late to watch Netflix because you just need that break. You just need that space. Really trying to minimize them things, minimizing alcohol because have a couple of glasses of wine at the weekend just to feel good. But at the end of the day, it didn't make me feel good. Like these were all of the things that I needed to do to really start looking after myself so that I was firing as best as I could to be able to support everyone else around me. So I speak into that and relate that back to capacity because all of this is all intertwined. Because as I said before, is like your capacity is what are the things that you can do, you can hold, you can say yes to without burning out. So again, when I put through this old patterning, doing the things that I wanted to do for myself, setting them non-negotiables for myself, supporting myself better through this. So looking after me better so that I could look after those around me better. Like this in itself was a massive fucking game change, a massive pattern interrupt. And again, like I'll get shown on here soon. Like she will talk them into this, but it's like how I was able to hold them through that most challenging probably 2 years ever, like was just next to none. Whereas before I would have crumbled many times in that. Whereas by being able to do that, that allowed me to really step up as a father, as a leader in our house. And I felt really fucking good being able to do that. Not to nail it all the time, but so much better than what it would have been previously. But where we come back into that capacity piece, this was where I had to be really hyper vigilant of what I was saying yes to and what I was saying no to. What I was saying yes to, the things that are going to call more of me, the things that are going to take more energy of me. And again, for that, that's where the podcast dropped off. Good businesses keep doing the podcast, but I knew is like if I tried to keep doing the podcast and keep doing these things, keep doing this, keep doing this, keep doing this, I would have been saying yes to too many things. I would have been spreading myself too thin and I would have burnt out again. So this is where I needed to really check in is like, right, what is the core need right now that needs to be met? And right now I need to make a decision for myself and for my family because of the season that we are in. So that was when I decided to stop podcasting and stop take that pressure off myself to podcast and to posting as regularly as what it was and what I would like. Because right now I needed to bunker down and focus on our family unit. And by doing so, yes, of course, it had a negative impact on the business, but that's where I looked at other ways to get more income coming in and put back on the physio hat, put back on the in-person hat, and put back on working as another for a coach for another coach as well, where I was getting more clients coming in, doing helping him with his business rather than solely relying on me. Because I knew in the season that we were in, I couldn't do all of the things that I needed to do while also looking after and managing everything within the family network and family household as well. So I'll put this back to you guys that are listening. If you are really honest with yourself right now, and if you feel that you're a bit struggling, if you feel that you're challenged right now, you're feeling tired, you're feeling fatigued, you're feeling resentful to your partner, you're feeling like you're not doing enough, you're just on that brink of burnout. You see yourself getting really reactive with your kids, all of these different things, whatever that might look like for you. This is where I invite you to actually look at yourself and it's like, right, what are the things that I am doing that actually aren't serving me? What are the things that I'm doing out of obligation rather than out of necessity? And is there some of them things that you can let go of right now? It's not saying like you're letting go of it forever, but you might have to let go of some of them things for the season that you are in. And by being able to do that, it's fucking tough. It's challenging. This is where ego kicks in to fight against that. For a lot of guys, for me in the past, would have been it's like my ego would have not let me do that. But I knew deep down, it's like, actually, this is what I need. This is what's going to be better for everything in the long run. Because I know the importance of saying no to certain things that I really want to do, that excite me, that light me up. By saying no to them things right now is going to help me actually show up fully as how I want to show up in all of the other areas that I'm saying yes to. Because again, too many guys, we are going through life spreading ourselves too thin and not doing anything well. Whereas if you can bring your focus in, is like, what are the things I want to focus on and do them really well and show up with that presence, show up with that connection to my wife, to my partner, to my kids, rather than trying to do all of these things and actually not being able to do any of them well. It takes a lot of courage to do that. So again, this is where it comes back to that capacity piece. It's like looking at it, like and asking yourself, what does that look like? How do I meet my needs to be able to look after me so that I can show up for those around me? And as you start doing this, as you start piecing the pieces of the puzzle together, it's being aware of like what are the thoughts that are coming up? What are the things that you're questioning yourself with? Where's the ego coming in to try to pull you back into it? Where's you doubting yourself? Because it's all real. Like they're going to happen. They're going to come true. That's going to happen for yourself. But it's the matter of keeps coming back and asking is like, what do I need right now? How can I navigate this with a little bit more ease? How can I move forward while making sure that I'm looking after myself so that I'm looking after everyone else around me? And again, as you do that and as you start building more trust in yourself by doing that, that is you starting to create more evidence. It's like, right, this is actually really cool. And again, is like, as I said, like you will move through these different seasons because you're not going to be in that space where you were, where you had to say no to all of these things forever, like myself. That's why I'm back doing the podcast. Like I've known the last month or so, it's like, right, it's coming to a point where I know that I'm going to be able to do this and I'm going to be able to hold this consistently again. Whereas again, I wanted to do this 2, 3 months ago, but I know that would have been too soon. I would have put too much pressure. And like there was a few other foundation pieces that I had to tweak and fine tune, like opening up my studio, getting my office set up, getting all the things set up so that feels really good, so that I can hold this next level, this next evolution of myself moving forward. Because again, as everything about the grounded masculine is, it's this spiral that we're moving through, that exploration, the evolution, and the embodiment piece, the explore, evolve, and embody. And like this is where I have gone through this massive fucking up level with all of it. Because at the start, back when we went back to Ireland, I explored what's working well, what's not working well, what can I do to support myself. I evolved. I started taking action where I needed to take action to support myself. And that allowed me to actually show up differently. That allowed me to create a new pattern for myself where I was like, I can actually look after myself so I can look after them rather than falling into that people pleaser. And then that embodiment piece is where I've literally just been in this space of doing that for the last 18 months to hold my family, to hold myself, to be able to see how this is all playing. And like now I'm just up at this new level right now. And this is where I'm at a space where it's like let's go again. And I'm exploring what's working well, what's not working well, what areas can I tweak. And this is where I keep going through this space, keep going through this process. And like as I said at the start of this, it's not bringing in new things right now. It's actually doing the things that I've been speaking of the last 10 years, but doing them really fucking well, embodying them in my day-to-day life. And that's just where this capacity piece comes in is fucking key because it's not trying to do everything at once. It's not trying to do it all and then failing in a month's time and then beating yourself up because like I tried to do this, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't hold it. So then I fall back. So it must be a failure. It mustn't be good enough. It's actually like, what's these couple of levels I want to go up to? How can I hold myself at this new level? How can this feel normal? So this is my new norm. And then let's go again. Let's add another layer onto that. So for anyone that's listening to this, there's a lot of different things that have thrown at you with it, but again, it just brings it back to that focus. The first thing that I invite you to look at for yourself is looking at what your patterns are. When you're hit with stress, when you're hit with these big challenging moments, what are your go-to patterns that you would normally fall back to? How can you support yourself better, differently in them patterns to do something different to break that cycle, break that pattern for yourself? And then as you're doing this, it's like, what do you need to say no to? And what do you need to say yes to that's going to actually support this and actually allow this to happen and come to fruition for yourself? When you're able to go through that three piece step by step by step, you're going to be able to move through challenging times with so much more ease. And again, as I keep saying, it's like they're just going to be a season that you will move through. And like the seasons of the year, we move through that season on to the next. And then you'll be able to start adding them things back in that you want to do. So if this has been ringing a bell for you, if this has been hitting home for you, I invite you to share this with anyone who you'd find would really benefit from it. I invite you to actually take some time and go through the questions that I've asked you in this. I'll put some questions in the show notes and stuff like that as well to help you actually dig deeper in this and take action from it. And lastly, if you want more of this in your space, if you want to be surrounded by more men and by myself to help you move through some of this stuff yourself, know that you don't have to do it alone. One of the big things, the big exciting things that I've been working on for the last couple of months is the grounded father community. You've heard me speak about it before, but this is fucking lighting up my soul right now. Being able to create this community and being able to support guys on a weekly basis in a group capacity is fucking game changing. And to see the bunch of men, the bunch of fathers who are coming together in this space and how they're starting to move through their challenges and support each other and step up with all of the work that we're doing is fucking so, so impressive. And that is there for you. That is there for you if you are ready to step up and actually do something different for yourself. So, if you want to explore that or what that could look like for yourself, just send me a message on Insta or email and let's have a chat about how the grind father might look for you. Because again, at the end of the day, nothing's going to change until you change. Thank you.